getting leads, but they're not becoming clients. You're doing absolutely everything right. You're networking, you're sending out emails, you're doing cold calls, you're doing all sorts of the right things in terms of your marketing. But for some reason, your leads are just not becoming clients. Why is that? I'm going to give you 5 examples of how to make your leads become paying clients. You're getting inquiries, but now you're too busy to respond. Problem number 1. So you're out on site, you're meeting clients, you have so much appointments, you're even potentially doing the job that you was actually paid to do in the first place. But the problem is you're getting calls, you're getting inquiries while you're actually busy doing the work you've been paid to do in the first place. Who is actually answering those calls? Are you missing out on those inquiries? You probably say to yourself, I'll get back to those people later. But do you actually get back to them later? Let's say you're a plumber and you're actually underneath the sink and someone from Check a Trade calls you. Do you have someone who answers your phone? Do you have someone who's able to take their details so you can call them back later? There are hundreds, if not thousands of people on platforms like Check a Trade or My Builder or My Tasker. What they'll do is they'll just go on to the next person and you have then lost out on a job. Not just any job, but this could be a job that could be massive, that could be life-changing for your business. And on top of that, you've paid for advertising and you're basically just wasting your leads. You send a quote, then nothing happens. Problem number 2. So let's say someone's made an inquiry on your website, through social media, even face-to-face at a networking event. And you have a conversation, everything goes really well. You send them a quote and then crickets. You don't hear anything. The problem is, did you follow up with them? Did you just expect them to come back to you and reply to you? What happened if they were getting 1 of 4 quotes and then they just accepted that one quote that they thought was a good price, but you probably delivered more value? What happened if they then met another person at another networking event and they decided to take that person? You have to follow up. You have to have a system of following up once you've sent a quote. So let's say, for example, the process is number 1. You speak to the person. You get all their details down. You put it in your quotation software or you put it on your Word document. You send it to them. You then have to make sure, number 3, that they've received your quotation. Because you could perhaps have written the email address wrong. It could happen. Maybe you sent it via SMS. The telephone number could be incorrect. Make sure they've received your quotation, number 3. Number 4 is follow up with them. Maybe they've got additional questions. Maybe you are actually 1 of 4 other quotations that they've received. Be proactive. Make sure you get the client. Make sure you get the work. Make sure that they're not left in any doubt with regards to your type of service and the value that you deliver. And you could potentially, they may not be ready right then and there. Maybe it's, a quote for a kitchen or something. They may not be ready right then and there to take on your service. So there's no harm of following up again. You're not bombarding them. You're not harassing them. You're just making sure that you are ahead, of everybody else who has sent them quotations. You are top of mind all the time. So there's no harm in follow up 2 or 3 times to make sure that they have received all your information, that all their questions have been answered. You're relying on your memory. This brings me neatly to problem number 3. Perhaps you're thinking, yes, I'm going to send that quote to Sheila from last week. I'm going to make sure I call Bob with that other problem from the week before. I'm going to make sure that I reply to that social media comment. And I'm going to make sure that I send this parcel to such and such person. The problem with relying on your memory is your memory is not built to be a CRM program. Client Relationship Management Program. There is software out there for all types of businesses. No matter what type of business you have, there's a CRM software for that. There's where documents where your clients came from, how often you've spoken to them, what kind of service they need, how they want the service to be provided, everything that needs to be documented about your client. Did you win the business? Did you not win the business? When did you last speak to them? How often do you need to speak to them? There are even some CRM programs that connect it to your email, some CRM programs that connect it to your newsletter software. So however often you're emailing your clients, that will be in your CRM program. You're only following up once. This is problem number 4. So I have found that people do not follow up with their clients or potential clients often enough. There's no system for them to be able to turn their leads into clients, into paying customers. So for example, people get busy. You may have an online social media campaign where people have to fill out an online form, give you their email address and their telephone number. Or you have, again, something like Check a Trade where someone is in need of something, in need of a specific service. They call you, You call them back one time, that's it. You don't call them back again. You think, that's it, I've lost the lead. But that specific person could be busy on the phone. They could have gone out. They could have had other things that they couldn't do in order to get back to whatever line of communication you had, whether it's phone, text, email, WhatsApp, thinking carrier pigeon, like whatever the communication that you had in order to contact this client. What you need is a nurturing sequence. This is a kind of system that will enable you to repeatedly get back to the customer or the potential client over a period of time without them feeling that they're being bombarded. Let's say you have a sequence where you call them on Monday, you don't get through to them. You don't have any way of speaking to them. So then you put them back in your sequence to follow up with them on Wednesday, depending on when that lead came in. So your planned sequence, who are you following up? How often are you following up? And when are you following up? What kind of communication platform are you using in order to follow up with these clients? Is it email? Is it WhatsApp? Is it text messaging? Is it, again, carrier pigeon? What is your best method of getting back to these potential clients? Do not think that nurturing is a way of bombarding and annoying your potential clients. It's not. You just need to make sure that until the client says, no, thank you, I'm not interested, that you can just keep speaking to them. You're not trying to be annoying. You're not trying to harass them. They've freely given you their details. So therefore, it's your service is what they need. So let's ensure that they get to use your service. You're generating leads without a complete sales process. So you've concentrated so much on how you're going to generate these leads. You've poured so much money into generating all these leads. You've gone to networking meetings every other night. You have poured all this money into social media marketing. You've done cold calling galore. But what happens at the other end? So once a customer says, okay, I'm interested, do you then have someone who adds it onto CRM program? Do you have someone who then manages all those various pipelines, who calls them all back? Do you then have someone who then sends out the quote? Do you have a software that does quote management for you? Do you have someone who then books it into your calendar so you can actually have another meeting with this potential client? What is your back end process once you've then generated all these leads? Because I know there are some businesses that generate thousands upon thousands of leads, and it's basically a waste of time and a waste of money if you don't have a system that converts these fantastic leads into what could potentially be fantastic paying clients. Let's see if we can sort this problem for you. I hope you're enjoying today's content. If you do, I'd really appreciate it if you could like this video, so this video could be sent out to all the other hundreds of thousands of people who need to hear this content. Thank you. The solution to all of these issues that I've brought through before is just 4-part system: generate, follow up, nurture, and convert. So once you've then generated all your leads, which is absolutely wonderful in any capacity, however you decide to do that, you generated leads to come into your business. Second part is follow up. How are you following up these clients? How are you ensuring that they don't get lost at all once you've then generated the lead? Third part is nurture. You want to make sure that you keep all of these potential leads warm within your business. They may not be ready the first time you called them, but they may be ready the fourth or fifth time you've called them, emailed them, WhatsApped them, whatever kind of communication you have. So you have a nurture sequence to ensure that you do not lose the leads that you have acquired. And then finally, conversion. How are you then converting these warm leads into potential paying clients? This is the very basic system that would enable you to have a really good follow-up system and ensure you don't lose money on all of these potential leads that you've generated into your business. Let's not make sure that you don't lose money and that these potential leads don't fall through the cracks.